Hello, beautiful people. My name is Reverend Lisa Yaboa, and I serve as the lead pastor of the Southeast Raleigh Table. And I'm so grateful that you are going to carve out a little bit of time to let me share with you just a couple of things that I have been thinking about over the course of the last 2 weeks. You may know that by now, August 22nd, we transitioned into outdoor weekly worship with our community. And it has been a great gift to get to see people face to face on Sunday mornings. But because we transitioned to in-person worship, we haven't had the opportunity to connect as often virtually. And so this video is going to help us to do that. So for the last 3 weeks, we've been meeting outdoors for worship. Our worship services are about 35 to 40 minutes, taking into consideration that it is still summer and we want individuals to be comfortable while they worship. It has been so nice having this large field. If you've ever been to our physical plant, you know that we have a beautiful outdoor space. It's been so wonderful to be able to worship safely and to take into consideration how we can sing together and be together and reduce our risk when we are in each other's presence. I know that to worship outdoors is very different than to worship indoors. But what we're trying to do is, one, remember that this is temporary, that it's a necessity right now as we wait for COVID cases to reduce and as we continue to move through this pandemic. We're savoring these moments as we have found new ways to be adaptable and also to pivot. And we're also realizing that there's a joy in these outdoor moments that I hope that when we look back a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, we will have kind of a fondness in our hearts for this season that we have been outdoors. Second thing that I want to share with you is that I know that not everyone can be with us when we meet in person. Some of you actually live out of town. We have friends who have joined us throughout the pandemic from South Carolina, from Florida, from Minnesota, and you cannot physically be present with us on a Sunday morning. I also know that there are individuals who are in our local area that right now is not the right time to return to in-person worship, even though it is outdoors. And so we are working on how to disseminate recordings, our podcast after a Sunday morning. When we were indoors, or when we had an indoor plan, that was a pretty simple and easy fix because we've done podcast recordings even pre-pandemic, but being outdoors does create some challenges. However, like I said, we're working on that. And so hopefully in the next couple of weeks, there will be a way that you can tap into either hearing the reflection or having some reflection questions and a scripture lesson that can help you to still feel connected to what we're doing on a Sunday morning. The last thing that I have been thinking about and that I want to share with you is that I've heard from a good number of folks in our community that you might be feeling a little bit spiritually disconnected from the idea of coming back to church. And I want to say, as your pastor, I hear you and I see you. 18 months of a rhythm being broken, of not sitting in a pew, of not waking up at a particular time. It didn't just break up the practical rhythm, but also too, we had to find new ways to tap into our relationships with one another and to tap into the ways in which we understand who God is. And so there are those in our community, I know I've even felt this way, just feeling a little spiritually disconnected from the idea of church. I want to say, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, don't force it. If right now is not the right time, be okay with that. Let yourself be and feel what you be and what you feel. However, I might also invite you to consider maybe 1 or 2 ways that you can show up for others and that you can show up for God. So maybe it's not that you're coming back to church, but that you are spending 5 minutes in the morning in silence and in prayer. It might not look like sitting on the field and singing with your church community, but it might look like finding one video on YouTube or on Facebook Live that you connected with, and you let that be kind of a means of grace for you. I am going to just simply invite you to show up for others in whatever way that feels authentic and genuine, and also to show up for God in whatever way does not feel forced. You will know when the right time is, and we will rejoice when the right time is. But wherever we are right now, we want to honor that and to give one another enough space to return when God says return. I'm so grateful for this church community and how you continue to be walking miracles. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out to us. You can always email us at southeastrawleightable@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Until next time, I pray God's blessings upon you and hope that you are well.